Hello, good morning, and welcome to this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge. And this morning's Taste Challenge involves Ronrico Gold Label. Let me edit something here on the note. Oh, that's okay. That's straight. Okay. Ronrico Gold Label, the company was founded in 1860 in Puerto Rico, now produced at Cruzan Distillery in the United States Virgin Islands, but they're both from the United States Caribbean Islands. B-Man says cheers. Cheers back to you, B-Man. Beer man, beverage man, Bacardi man, bourbon man. All right. Now, the Black Bat. The Bacardi Gold, Ron Superior Carta Oro. Superior, that means superior gold rum. Established in Santiago de Cuba, the Spanish province of Cuba in 1862, transferred to Puerto Rico in the 1960s, 100 years later after the communist overthrow. Now, they still produce Havana Club. Now, and they say this is the real Havana Club because this is the family that started it. We make it in Puerto Rico. Now, there's a Havana Club from Cuba, from the people who stole the company, saying we're the real one. So who's the real people that started it or the people that stole it? I think we can use logic to figure that out. All right, anyway, I don't think this is going to be too much a challenge because I just think the Bacardi is going to be better. It's $12.99 if you're lucky these days for this bottle. Age at least 1 year. There's no age statement per se, but it is aged at least 1 year according to the guidelines of the trade association known as the Rums of Puerto Rico. And if you look on the Rums of Puerto Rico website, to talk about how they all have to follow certain standards, have to be aged in charred oak barrels for at least, didn't say new charred oak barrels, but charred oak barrels for at least a year and other things. Now, the Ronrico is not part of Puerto Rico anymore, so it was acquired by Seagram's at some point in history. And then Seagram's decided to sell it and a whole bunch of other brands and facilities to the Beam Company in 1994. Didn't help them really because 6 years later, Seagram's went out of business. The brand still exists, but the company does not. It just was bought by people like Pernod Ricard of France and Diageo of merry old England. So, and then the production was moved to Cruzan at some point. It's bottled in Kentucky. There's the cabana. You can look real carefully and see the drinks at the bar. There's a pathway. See, it's a nice label. There's a walkway leading you to the cabana leading you to the drink. Get it? Sky blue label. $9.49 at Winn-Dixie. $9.49 at Winn-Dixie. Bacardi Gold. $12.99 at Walmart. Fancy looking bottle. If you notice, the Ronrico bottle is the same design as Old Crow. Notice that? Old Crow and this have the same bottle design. Yep, they sure do. Okay. Oh, I forgot to pour it. Okay, so there's the Ronrico Light Gold. Come on over here, Bacardi Gold. Nice metal cap. No cork, but the more expensive ones have the rubber cork, you know, that rubber, which some people claim is better because it's less, and I'm not a scientist, less liable to dry rot. This is pretty light gold too, but I think it's got, no, they're about the same. It's just a different type of, this is more yellowish. This is more gold metal looking, you know. This is more just yellow looking. But I don't think I have to worry about glancing down at it. So is the cork better rubber stopper, or is the rubber stopper better than the cork cap? People ask me scientific questions sometimes, and I tell them I'm not a scientist. I don't know. I'm not a person that's afraid to say I don't know. When I taught high school for all those years, if students would ask me, I would tell them I don't know. If it was a question, but I say I'll try to find out. Best way to do it. Don't try to act like you know something you don't. Beer Hound says, top of the morning to you, Ron. Top of the very early morning to you, 5:37. I was watching Louisiana State University hosting University of South Carolina last night, but I got sleep and cut it off. When I cut it off, it looked like anybody's game, but LSU did finally beat them pretty bad, 52 points to can't remember the other 24 or something like that. Same thing. Tulane was in the game against Central Florida, but they couldn't keep up. And then they made self-defeating mistakes, coaching mistakes. 3 onside kicks. The first 2 weren't even necessary. There was no point to it. It was like demoralized the team. So that I think their head coach is going to have to answer to that. I'm going to see in the paper arrived, and I'll have to see what they're saying in it. B-Man said, Tennessee got tied, whopped yesterday. Yeah, I saw that. Alabama was whipping them pretty bad. Of course, they lost a big receiver, running back, awesome offensive player. Beerhound said, I'm drinking Sierra Nevada Hazy Little Thing IPA. Oh, yeah. That was pretty good. We liked it. We didn't love it. We liked it. Didn't love it. Okay. But still, it's good. It's definitely at least a B. All right, I think the Bacardi Gold is going to win just by virtue of it being a better product. It costs about $4 more per bottle, and I think it's worth it. You're getting a better product. The next 2 taste challenges on Tuesday morning and then Wednesday, but I might do Wednesday on Tuesday because then we do Wildcard Wednesday, and it's a aggravation to try to bunch them all up. So I might just do Tuesday and then later Tuesday, but still a Wednesday schedule slot. The Bacardi 8-year and the Bacardi 10-year. I mean, there'd be no chance. Ronrico will have no chance against those 2. The Appleton Estate Signature for Thursday, be no contest there, none whatsoever. Then there will be some competitive taste challenges coming up. Ronrico versus Skull. I do give a slight advantage to Skull, but I'm not sure. And then Ronrico versus Ron Pontalba. It should be Ron Pontalba rather easily. And then the final one is Aristocrat. Ronrico versus Aristocrat. I would assume Ronrico would win, but Aristocrat could surprise me, but I don't think it will. And then we'll be on to rye whiskey. And I'm bringing back Sazerac. A company established in the 1860s, but I don't think Sazerac Rye has been around maybe even 20 years. I don't think it's even been around 20 years. But it's dynamite, you know. There's an 18-year age, but like I say, it might have only been out no longer than 18 years ago. Years ago. Because I couldn't find any old information about Sazerac Rye. This smells musty, sugary, stalky, you know, like a sugarcane stalk, little moldy. Fermented, dusty. Smells like all those things. Are you a fan of Gentleman Jack? Oh, Gentleman Jack whiskey. I don't have any experience with that. I took a little 1-ounce taste of it at Jack Daniel's distillery 3 years ago, but how do you get an assessment off of that? So I've never had it, so I can't say I'm a fan nor a detractor of it because I've never had it. I intend to buy it at some point, but I've heard people say good things about it. The way they described the production of it, however, didn't make me think I would care too much for it. Okay, this is much richer, sweeter. There is grassiness here. There's no doubt about that. You get the sugarcane stalk, maybe perhaps even more pronounced here. But it's richer, more sugary. Well, that's what you got to say. It's richer in sugar, more sugary here. Can I get more wood barrel here? You know what I'm picking up? I'm picking up browned sugar, like caramel, browned sugar. It's almost like they put very light molasses or sugar, even sugar, in a pan and they browned it. And that's coming from Bacardi Gold. You're never going to get that with Ronrico. Much simpler product here. Maybe drier. Maybe drier. I think that's what they're shooting for. They have recipes on the back of both bottles. Ronrico Gold label. A 1976 Ronrico Old Fashioned. That would have come from Seagram's company. Seagram's was real big into cocktails. I think they even used to have cocktail tutorials. And you say on the internet? Well, no, they didn't have the internet back then. Like actual at restaurants and bars, you could sign up and inventing and promoting cocktails. That company was very big involved in the liquor world, the liquor culture, but they failed and they went out of business. Here's from the original, for the original Cuba Libre, with notes of vanilla, toasted almonds, and light oak. Bacardi Gold forms the basis of the Cuba Libre, and they give a recipe there. So many of the better rum brands will give you actual cocktail recipes on the back of the label. Ronrico does, Castillo does, Bacardi Gold and Silver does. I'm not sure what the rest. Much drier, much, if you want to say, denuded or neutral aroma here. Is this the Ronrico? It certainly is. I have guessed it on aroma only. There's more evidence that these rums are not alike, even though there may be similar price points one to the other. So this is very obviously the Ronrico. No tasting required. I would consider a jelly shots review. No, I haven't. Okay, nor would I. All right, so there. This is going to say capital R, lowercase r, Ronrico. Yeah, I couldn't figure it out. RR. All right, so is it possible to guess two rums in a blind taste test on aroma only? Yes, it's not only possible, it's even likely. I did it yesterday afternoon or late morning. Did it twice, two times in a row. Got it correct on aroma only. Is that an indication that I'm some great expert? No, it isn't. Is that but it's an indication that these are not very similar aside from the color. So what are we getting on Ronrico? A plethora. We like to use those types of words. It means a lot. A whole load of it. A whole load of grass. Sugarcane is a grass, in truth, but the pulp is sugar, or like spongy material containing liquid sugarcane juice, which is sugary. That's where the sugar comes from. So it's very stalky, though. You pick up more grassy stalk than, and it's a type of bamboo. You know, sugarcane is a type of cane, really a type of bamboo. You can make a weapon out of it, and they make fishing poles out of it around here. Buy cane, not one that have a reel on it, but a cane pole. You just cast it. Used to be able to fish without a license with those till some, I think, of some Republican governor. They're supposed to be against taxes, but they always seem to have a way of supporting fees. You see, the Republicans, they don't support taxes, they support fees. I've noticed that since the 80s, which I take issue with, because I say you're supposed to be conservative, but you do a end around. I remember with Ronald Reagan, I got so disillusioned because he says in late 80s, we're going to hike up all the airport fees. And I said, thought he was supposed to be against all that. But, you know, you gotta have an open eye. You gotta be watchful. You say, well, the other guys are worse. Yeah, I know, but I didn't say. But that doesn't excuse party A because party B does something. You don't say, well, I got a cousin who's a really bad alcoholic, but I got another cousin who's just a pretty bad alcoholic. Yeah. So the really bad one is worse than the pretty bad one. Yeah, but they're still alcoholics and they got problems. They need to work on it. So that was my categorization of both of these parties. Just because one is bad and one is worse don't make either one good, you see. So this is dry. If you're looking for a lot of sweetness, don't go to Ronrico because it is not sweet. Not really sweet at all. Slightly, but mostly just dry. Is it bountiful with flavor? No. Does it have off flavors, off aromas, off a strange texture or mouthfeel or finish? No, none of those things. It's fine. It's $9.49 a bottle and it's worth every penny. And it really is, I guess now, it is now sold as a below premium budget brand, but it still tastes like in the old days when it was sold as a premium brand. I don't think they changed the recipe at all. They just changed their price focus based on popularity or the lack of popularity, which goes back to the total lack of advertising attention. I mean, this is a brand that hadn't gotten a magazine ad in probably 40 years, at least 35. So you give it no attention, it gets no attention. Oh man. Rich, vanilla, charred oak, various charcoals, because it's filtered through a secret combination of different wood charcoals. What are they? Well, they're not gonna tell you a secret. But this is dynamite. This is dynamite. I don't know how. I don't understand how. I mean, I know how they just get on the internet and make videos, but I don't really understand how they're coming on YouTube and talking about how garbage Bacardi Gold is. And there'll be people making videos like, oh, this stuff's terrible. I'd rather drink horse urine and all of this ridiculous stuff. I say, are you doing that just because it's a famous brand who has commercials on every sporting event and it's like you're making yourself look good? Like, I'll show everybody I'm really into the deep speculative stuff. You know, I can't. I'm a rebel, man. You're not really a rebel because you're making sort of like an expected video. But I don't know how they can say how bad it is. It's nothing bad about it. In fact, it's actually very good. It's way above average. So this whole business about how bad it is, it doesn't make any sense. Do we run across that in the beer world every day of your life? 29 hours a day, they got people making comments, bad stuff about mainline beers. It's not as bad as it used to be, you see. 10 years ago, these people would go crazy. You know, it's just all they talked about. But maybe they had so many hazy IPAs that went to their brain and they got drowned in sugar and gave them some kind of brain sugar reaction. Their body can't process the sugar, so they're not focused, or maybe they're not as obsessed with that brand of which I will not name or even allude to it, even though it is the king of beers, so-called. I will not even imply what the beer is because I don't play that. Well, what are the similarities between these two? Answer, I don't know if there are any similarities between these two. That's how different they are. Could you ever confuse these two? I don't know how. I don't know how you would confuse these two. Now, you might say, well, I was experimenting with lysergic acid diethylamide, and it was so trippy, man. I couldn't even tell them apart, man. Well, yeah, but I'm talking about in a normal sense. I don't see how you would confuse these two. It's not possible. It cannot happen. It will not happen. It never will happen. I'm unanimous in that. I am unanimous in that. So, is the Bacardi Gold better? Is it better? It's so noticeably and demonstratively better that it's laughable in a way. But I knew this was coming. The Ronrico's fine. Pay you $9.49 and do what they're focusing on, your cocktails, because that's what they're talking about. They're really not emphasizing drinking it neat, and especially without ice. So, I mean, it's, you said, well, I'm going to read about it on the internet. No, you're not, because there's no website information whatsoever. You might get a sell sheet from a grocery store, liquor store. That's about all you're going to get. They talk about it's a blend of the finest Caribbean rums, which reflect our commitment. I mean, our continued skill and dedication in the making of every drop. Okay, great. No doubt about that. I'm sure that's true. I'm sure it's very well made, and the consistency level is incredible. And there's nothing off or bad about this. I agree with all that. It's just sort of bland and so dry and sort of tasteless relative to Bacardi. And it's designed to be that way, so I can't say too much about it. It's really made for what it's made for. You know what I'm saying? It exists for its own purposes, and its purposes are clear. So if you're into rum cocktails, you got it. You got it, man. No. Oh, I heard an owl. I didn't know what that was. I thought somebody was calling me. And I heard, I hear you out there. All right, now this one really can go neat. It can exist on its own. It doesn't need water. It doesn't need ice. Do 95% of people that buy it drink it neat? No, 95% of people that buy Bacardi Gold mix it, blend it, cocktail it, highball it. Well, I don't know if you make highballs with rum, but you know what I'm saying. But however, I think they should slow down, calm down. You know what I'm saying? Sit down and take some time to drink it neat. It really will present some interesting. I mean, the Ronrico, yeah, it's not that interesting, but this one. Every sip is a complex adventure. It really is an adventure. There's a lot of grassy stalk now, but it seems like every time I take a sip of Bacardi Gold, I find something new about it. It just keeps presenting more. I don't know how you get bored with it. Now the Bacardi Black is ooh, I'll finish that off. My daughter and I were just loving it. You can't keep it around. You know, it's so good. I'll have to buy some more. My friend's got an unopened bottle of Bacardi Superior, the original name for the black. I told him, I'll pay you for that bottle, but he didn't respond. And he's northwest of Houston. And it's sad to see that bottle set up there and never get drunk. And it ain't going to get drunk. They don't drink really over there. But he said, someone gave that to us. And it's a liter too. I was thinking, I could never tolerate that. If I had a bottle of liquor that I was never going to drink, I wouldn't keep it. I'd just give it to. If somebody told me I'll pay you for that, I'd say no. You could have it. Just take it. Of course, that will never happen because I utilize mine. I use them. I don't let them set. All right. Ha ha ha. Morning, says Reverend 20 Piece. Morning to you, Rev. Well, that was a clear-cut thing if there was ever a clear-cut matchup. If this was a football game, it would have been 23-0. Bacardi easily won. It was never in question. They got more yardage passing and rushing. And it just... They were predicted. They were a 14-point favorite, and they covered the spread, and it was very easy. Ronrico could not dream of competing, and it did not compete. Totally as predicted. There was no upsets here. And so, final story. Is it worth paying the extra $4 for Bacardi? Absolutely. Don't hesitate. On the other hand, do you lose a whole? Is it like a bad deal? What I mean is it a bad deal to buy the Ronrico for $9.49? No, 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 no. It's $9.49 and it tastes like it. And in its case, it doesn't taste like much of anything. But it's fine. On its own merits now, when I drank it solo, it has some pretty good flavors. On its own, drinking it solo. When you do matchups, though, it changes your whole perspective of it. So you got to take that into account. You could drink a whiskey or a rum or whatever. On its own, it'll taste like, oh, look at all this. Now, when you start putting it in matchups, it's almost like you're drinking a different item. Incredible. So you say, well, I don't think it'd be worthwhile to watch Ronrico versus Bacardi 8-year and Bacardi 10-year and Appleton Estate Signature blend. I would agree with that. It probably won't be worth your while. It will be a total mismatch. It will be no kind of contest. And if I get no views, I won't take it personally. I would actually agree with what the people are doing, meaning not watching. But we are going to go through the exercise. I do the tournament completely. Whether they win or lose, it's like a football season. You got your schedule, you play it. If you go 0-16, that really ain't my problem. You know, you just got to get better players and a better coach and a better organization. And we know some teams that have gone 0-16. So, but they still play the schedule. And some of the games will be interesting, even though they can't win. All right. So then that's it. So 3 mismatches coming up, followed by 3 very even matches to close it out. So I think it'd be something to do. I'm really excited about that rye whiskey coming up, but I'm very happy to do the rum. Very pleased. When I come back around the bend in half a year, I think it will be 6 months. We're going to do the Cruzan White label, silver label they call it. It is silver. It's really clear, but no one calls it clear rum. The silver label against everybody. And I think it'll be similar results. It'll do well against the other cheap brands, and it won't compete against your Captain Morgan's, your Bacardi, because it's just not at that level. It can't do it. All right. Thank you very much for watching this. And now we're going to watch the news, walk half a mile, go to mass. Thought about going to church yesterday afternoon, but I say no. I'm watching Tulane get beat. Oh, that was something. Anyway, thank y'all.